Welcome back to the For the Badge podcast. It's been quite the crazy weekend in the Premier League. Not least of all, Arsenal absolutely manhandling Fulham at their ground. And if you're a fan of that, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and get that notification bell on. This, guys, was one of the most complete performances, complete, utter decimation that I've seen all season. Obviously, the 7-0 kind of takes that pedestal, but this was such a complete day. Like everything went right. Even Jesus came back. Like, there's so many positives to talk about this Arsenal game. Just absolute. For the first 10, 15 minutes, we controlled the game. I think it was kind of like a chess match where we were kind of feeling it out, setting ourselves up, feeling us out, and then we got a goal that was called offsides.
Yeah.
And rightly
Martinelli
so.
goalie. Yeah, the Martinelli goal.
Rightly so. And I think that kind of lit the fire. And we just played some absolute glorious, beautiful, beautiful stuff. It was, 3-0 at halftime. I was just grinning from ear to ear. Some of the if we played through the press, and if we didn't because they had backed off and we didn't have to play through the press, we just take the space and then switch the ball and play. It was great, and I think I didn't expect Trossard to be in the team, so I was a bit worried because we struggled last time. We had Martinelli playing the false nine. Again, it just proves my point that I've been saying. If you put these last two games next to each other, the influence of Martin Odegaard is
100%.
Is just out of this world.
100%.
Here to see.
100%. He's a field general. He's a leader. Yeah.
Yep.
Trossard probably deserves man of the match, right? He gets all 3 assists, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he had 3 assists.
But for me, watching the game, I'm still giving Martin Odegaard the man of the match. Just because he absolutely, it's pure captain's performance. Had control of the game from the first whistle. It never looked in doubt. He was marshaling the troops. He got a goal. It was a very, very comprehensive performance. We're able to make subs at halftime. We're able to bring on Kieran Tierney, who won't get a lot of mention in this game. But the couple of minutes that he played, he's actually trying to do the Zinchenko thing, where he inverts, which is not something you see from Kieran Tierney. Usually he likes to stay wide, but he came in the game and was doing that. Now, hey, you're learning from a champion, learning to play that spot from an absolute champion. So so why not? The only real nitpick I may have is my normal nitpick. When Vieira came on, I thought that he was just okay. I will say he's improved, but I just can't. Odegaard's influence is absolutely ridiculous. He works back to defend. He's the first man in our press, right? So when, say, the goalkeeper has the ball and Trossard goes to press the goalkeeper and Leno plays it over to Timmy Ream, the press isn't let up because he's played it past the forward. Martin's there. Martin's in his face immediately. And so, say, Ream plays it even wider to Robinson, Saka's in his face immediately. So Odegaard's part in the high press is vital. It's key. But he also will work back and he'll run, he'll make a 70-yard run to get back to help out Jorginho, who's been blown past. But yeah, I can't say enough good things about Martin Odegaard, and he looks great in that black kit.
The black kit, it does look good.
Yeah, oh man, it's
The
great.
black kit does look good.
Thomas Partey was immense in this game as well. That's the thing when Arsenal plays well and we really blow teams away. It's like tough to pick a man of the match, because it's just so many people were so good. Trossard is like the way he's been able to play that false nine role, the way he's able to help knit the midfield. Even when Martin's gets caught forward and Trossard is deeper, he can get the ball, turn it, and he's always
Right.
looking to go forward. Yeah, I mean, I remember thinking at one point, I was like, man, we're perfect. This is like a finely tuned engine, going through the gears because there was a bit of drop off in the second half, but we were so good for so long in that first half that the game's done.
Yeah.
Absolutely done. And even in our game management mode, we still put together some absolute beautiful stuff. Just some incredible stuff. And to be pulling that performance out after a tough week in Portugal, and some of our recent wins have been real emotional roller coasters. Kind of having to make up for defensive lapses and defensive errors. I mean, I think we scored 3, 4, 4, and 3 in the last 4 games. Or no, we scored 2 in the Europa League, but still, it's in the Premier League. I think it was 4 against Villa, 3 against Brentford, and now 3 against Fulham, and the
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth. Yeah. The Villa and the Bournemouth game. Okay, yeah, we scored 4 goals, but Fulham away.
Yeah.
Craven Cottage is not an easy place to go to at all, as you know. João Felix red card.
Right.
But that is a statement right there.
I thought y'all had immediate control of the game. Immediate control of this game from the rip. And it was kind of not off-putting, but you took Fulham out of their game completely. This is not what Fulham usually looks like, and it was hard. And at home, I think the early offsides goal shook them more than it hurt you. I think it showed how vulnerable they were and the exploitation of what you were about to. And it's the same. You did the same thing to get the second goal. Timing that defender on the outside, rolling the ball off, making the run. It's just my man wasn't. I believe it was Trossard on the second assist. Trossard just wasn't. Trossard just wasn't offside. Yeah, Trossard just wasn't offsides. Martinelli was. That was the only difference in that same exact setup. So it was just like a saying. He took Fulham out of their game. Odegaard commanding. I was glad to see he got a goal for his efforts in the game today. Or, I definitely Partey is a glue to that squad, and it's funny to me that Xhaka finally, after all of the hurt, I just had a thought when you were talking. I was like, man, as I was reading through the game really fast, I was like, how do you think Granit Xhaka sits back? If we sit back and we're like, oh, Arsenal 2, 3, 4 seasons ago, my man had to sit through some squads to get this one. So he's I would be over the moon if this is how I was playing after some of the squads Granit Xhaka's had to put up with over here at Arsenal. So I was like, imagine how Jake feels, but I was like, no, man, imagine how my man Granit Xhaka feels. He's like, oh, dude, no, we can actually.
See how
these boys can play. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He just played angry. Yeah, he just played angry. I don't want to be out here kicking people, but that's my job.
I'm gonna take it out on the other team.
Yeah. But it was a commanding game at Fulham, and I said it last week. This is one of those championship moments where you show everyone, hey, this team's notorious about taking points and not losing points at home. Hey, these guys can't get scored on at Craven Cottage. Hey, Fulham plays a very tough game. Okay, you just went in there and made them play your game and took 3 goals on them. Like that's what I was getting at last week. This is what a championship squad looks like against these teams that hold these home advantages, and they go in there and they get 2 goals and they walk out of there with all the points, because that's what you need to build a championship run. You cannot drop points against these lower teams, and in this case they're lower on the table than you. You know, these mid-table teams is the term they like to use.
Table than us.
Well, yeah. Hey, it must feel nice.
Yes.
So you know, it's just one of those moments where I said you have to go out there and show it. It's a must-win game. You don't want City to take a win like they did, which I was biting my nails during that game.
I knew. We'll get to it, but I knew.
No, they were trying to give it to them there for. I mean, we'll get to that.
Get my hopes up.
We'll get to that. But I was happy. I told you though, you can't leave a gap, because they will find a way to exploit it. And this would have been one of those moments. And you went in there, you handled your business at Fulham, and it was a commanding game. I thought Trossard had a great game. I would not worry about him starting ever again in this squad. It's just hard to get a starting spot in this squad when you have Saka, Martinelli. You know, Gabriel Jesus is getting healthy. Emmy Smith Rowe is getting back healthy. Kieran Tierney, or I'm sorry, not Tierney. Smith Rowe's getting healthy. Yeah. So
Jesus won't start on Thursday.
No, you don't think so?
Nope. He might not even start versus Palace on Sunday. That's how good Trossard's been, dude. He's been
fantastic.
It's so good.
Yep.
You know, and we can still slowly bring get Jesus back. Okay, he got 15
How ironic.
on Sunday. You know, we'll get him 25 on Thursday. We'll get him a whole half on, you know, because that's why the signing of Jorginho was so shrewd, because no, he's not Partey. No, he doesn't give you speed and steal in transition, but
a great substitute.
He's good enough that it allowed us to gradually bring Partey back. And that's why Partey now again looks like his best.
Yeah.
Same with Jesus. Same thing they're going to try to do with Jesus, because Trossard has been that good.
How ironic would it be if Jesus turns into another super sub that Man City was trying to use him as, and that's why he left, but he ends up at Arsenal and Trossard just keeps on form.
I mean, hey,
and then he ends up a super sub again for Arsenal.
If he wins the title, I think they're subtly different players.
Yeah.
Trossard's coming back to get the ball, to link up and do a nice little 1-2.
Jesus is getting the ball to score, right?
Well, he's coming back to get the ball so he can turn around and come at people.
Yeah.
You know, and try to dribble 4 guys like Ronaldinho. Like that's the, I think the main difference.
Pure Brazilian, yes.
Yeah.
Pure Brazilian play. But yeah, no, I thought you had a great game. There's not a lot of faults to have on your end. Again, I think you knocked Fulham off the game early. You took command of this game early. And the disallowed goal came in the 20th. Yeah, and the ball never lies is how I say it. You know, you deserved one, you were owed one, and you got it immediately after on the answer. And you just, from there, it was just looked like Fulham were playing catch up, and you had them in your back pocket.
What do you think, Patrick? Do you think Arsenal are just that good? Or do you think maybe they're missing Paulinho a bit there in the middle?
I think it could be a little bit of both. I mean, you know, you were talking about how Odegaard is bossing everything, which he's going to against anybody. I mean, let's be honest. Maybe not against City, but even then, there were moments where he was. You know, Paulinho, you know, you're talking about a guy who controls the midfield for Fulham, not out there to do that. I mean, it just leads to you getting overran.
Yeah, that's very true.
Either way, I think y'all did a really good job, though, putting pressure on Fulham's defense, because I think that's the one thing during their run here recently. A lot of teams haven't really put much pressure on their defense. If you look at some of the goals that have been scored against them, they're coming off of like, set pieces or something like that, and that's not that overwhelming pressure. So with y'all giving that overwhelming pressure and pushing them and forcing them to pretty much make mistakes, it leads to a very comfortable result for y'all because of the way y'all are built. Um, and so I think it was a combination of y'all are that good, but also because they really didn't have anybody to kind of boss in that midfield to take away some of that steel and strength that y'all have to dominate.
Yeah, I thought that you kind of said it, X, how we took them off their game a lot because, and I know I say the broken record, I say this every week, but we won every second ball. Yes, Mitrovic had some influence. They had a little spell near the end where he hit the bar, and he was able to do a couple of things here and there, but we penned them in so many times. We weren't allowing them to get any passes going, and so it kind of looked like they were disjointed, and it looked like
Right.
they didn't play good.
Right.
But we just absolutely, it was a dominant performance from the word go. I feel like, yeah, it was a bit even for the first little bit, but we never looked like giving a goal. And it's interesting. We now have a new record. We've got a new record in the league. We have the most London Derby away shutouts in a single season. We won 1-0 at the Bridge. We won 2-0 at Palace. We won 3-0 at Fulham. We won
2-0 at Spurs.
Yeah, we won 2-0 at Spurs. We won 3-0 at Brentford. We won 5-0 at Forest. So yeah, we've and it's interesting that that was the home game. Never mind. We won 5-0 at home versus Forest. But yeah. It's interesting that we seem to play better defense away from home.
That is interesting.
Just locked down away from home. And I think it's because at home at the Emirates we feel so comfortable going forward, trying to play our game going forward that we might get sometimes a little eager and get hit on the break a bit more when we're at home, which is an interesting idea. But I don't think that we play any differently away from home. We still keep the ball, we still press really high, and so yeah, all in all,
it's a mentality. I mean, when you go into someone's house, so to speak, and you're like, we are who we are, that mentality is a little bit different than when you're at home because you already have that mentality that, we're at home, we're going to score, we're going to put on a show for the fans. But when you go on the road, it's always said in basketball, defense travels. And that's what happens. Your defense travels on the road, and you've seen it plenty enough to get it. I mean, it's. I think that it's more of a mentality to your defenders and your midfield. Like, we're not giving up a goal today. So I don't know. I think it's something that what will be interesting in the growth of y'all is, do y'all start to put together some of those clean sheets at home? Because you just have one recently, right?
Yeah, we smashed Everton 4-0.
Yeah, you had Everton 4-0. And you could tell in that match that they were going to do everything they could not to give up a goal. Even though Everton had a couple nice spells here and there where they kind of were trying to hit y'all on a counter. But it'll be interesting as the growth of your team, because this is the one thing that I enjoy as just a fan, is to see a team grow over the season, going into the next season. where is that ceiling? I feel like ceiling's like way up here, and y'all are like right here right now, because of course you don't have guys who are technically in their prime yet. They're still, I mean, they're still young. Two, your defense specifically, Saliba and Gabrielle. Did they play together all year last year, or was it more this year?
No, Willie Saliba was not in an Arsenal shirt last year. He was on loan.
That's right.
Hey,
So I mean that partnership's just going to continue to get stronger. And that's kind of fun to watch because you can see it here and there. I mean, even the Partey and Xhaka combination, that's only going to get better. And I think that I just lost my train of thought. I think that if you, with your midfield and your defense, you can tinker and play around with guys in the attack because, of course, Saka's not going anywhere. Martinelli's probably not going anywhere. Now you got Trossard. You can play around and, like, what do we do with a striker? Do we want to do a false nine? Do we want to get a true nine? And you'll be able to go out and get one. But I also think that Arteta has built this team to a level where you don't want to mess with too much of it because it's a great combination so far.
absolutely, and I think that moving forward, you said it as far as the ceiling thing goes. We, as much as the fans want to see, we want to see the double. We want to see win the league, win the Europa League. Let's go strong on Thursday. Let's wreck them at home. Let's continue the momentum, keep winning. It would be overachieving to win this league. That would be an overachievement. Winning Europa League in top 4 is kind of the realistic goals from the beginning of this season, right? And so from an 8th, 5th, 1st,
yeah,
that's a bit, at the beginning of the season, if you'd have told me we'd be top of the table all but 3 game weeks of the entire season up until now, I'd be like, you're crazy. You're delusional.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
And so we've definitely been overachieving, but with 11 games left.
Yeah. I can't believe we're at 11 games left.
You can call it overachieving, but it's time. I'd be devastated if we don't go on to win this title.
Yeah.
After the season we've had, no, I won't be disappointed because we've already locked up Champions League essentially. We're on 66 points. That's
you're not getting knocked out of
last 5 seasons.
You're not getting knocked out of top 4.
Yeah, that's higher than the average of the last 5 seasons for Champions League places.
And you're not going to lose all 11 the rest of the season. That's not going to happen.
Oh no. So I'm loving it. And if you're loving this, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and get that notification bell on. We definitely got plenty more coming at you.